Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to build chord progressions in any key quickly and easily as you're playing. So you know exactly where you're supposed to go next depending on what chord progression you're playing. So for example, let's say you are playing in the key of C major and you want to play a 1, 2, 4, 5 chord progression. So we have our 1, right? This is our C chord. Where do we go from here? How do we jump from the next chords in our chord progression quickly and easily? And the way we could do that is by using our scale degrees. And as usual, I'll include graphs and things like that to make everything very visually easy to understand, to make everything very clear. So let's just get a little closer and talk about it. So first of all, let's talk about what a degree even is. So a degree is a number that corresponds to any given note in a scale. So for example, if we're playing in the key of C major, our notes are going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And if we assign numbers to those notes, the C would be 1 and so on and so forth. And those numbers would now become your degrees of the scale. So how do we find those degrees on the fretboard? Well, we find them through our major scale, right? So I'm going to use the E-shaped major scale. This is going to work for any shape that you choose. I'll just choose this one just because I like it. So this is our major scale in this position, right? So this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Of course, you could continue D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? And the degrees in that major scale are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So these degrees and where they are in the position are important because they are going to become your, what I like to call landmark notes, which are going to be where you're going to build your chords off of. So you're going to use those notes to build a chord around, depending what progression you want to play. So let's, for example, play a 1, 2, 4, 5 chord progression in the key of C major, right? So let's start with our 1. That's going to be here. So we know to play our chord around this note here. And if you don't know how to build chords around a note or even how to turn a major chord into a minor chord, so we're going to talk about that too a little bit. I'll link videos in the description where you could watch some of my videos where I talk about that in detail. So this is our 1 chord, right? Built off of this 1 degree right here. So our 2, if we want to build our 2 chord, where is that going to be? Well, our 2 is right here, right? It's 1 whole step away from our 1. So we know that we now have to build a chord off of this note here. And we're going to build a minor chord just because the major scale or the major key formula, the second is usually played as a minor. So this is our 1. Jump to our 2, play that as a minor. Now our 4, where's our 4? Well, let's go back, right, to our chord here. This is your 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right below the 1. So now we know that we have to build a chord around this note here. So we can use the A shape to build this chord, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and our 5 chord, right, is now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. 1 whole step away from your 4. So again, we could use another A shape to build this chord. So together we have 1, 2, 3, 4, back to 1. And so now what I really want to talk about and emphasize is the formula that makes the major scale. What makes the major scale is the intervals between the notes. And the formula that makes that scale is something I'm sure a lot of people have heard already. And that's going to be whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So what that means basically on the guitar is how far away or how many frets you have to go up, either a half step or a whole step to get to your next note, in simplified terms. And here's the important part about knowing that. The interval, so the distance played between each note or how many frets you have to travel, is the same for every single key in any single major scale shape that you're using. And the reason that's so important is because it makes navigating through your chord progressions very predictable, because you're always going to know where your next scale degree is anywhere on the fretboard. This might be a little confusing, but it's very important, so stick with me here. Your 1 will always be a whole step away to your 2. Your 2 will always be a whole step away to your 3. Your 3 will always be a half step away to your 4. Your 4 will always be a whole step away to your 5. Your 5, a whole step away to your 6. Your 6, a whole step away to your 7. And your 7, a half step away back to your 1. So that's going to work whether you're playing your C major scale in the E position. It'll even work even if you're playing, let's say, in the G position. Let's take our 1 that's down here. Your 2 is always a whole step away from your 1. Your 5 is always a whole step away from your 4. And so as long as you know your major scale shapes and the degrees in those given shapes, you're going to know exactly where your next chord is going to be in your chord progression. So let's use this shape down here as an example. We're still in the C major key. So we are going to have to build a chord around this note here to build our 1. We're going to have to build a chord around this note here to build our 2, this note here to build our 4, and this note here to build our 5. So you could use triads to build chords that way, right? So C major triad, A minor triad, right? Because your root note is here. We're building it off of this note here. Then we have our 4 here built around this note here, right? Our 5 is always one whole step over. So we'll move this down here and back to our 1. And so this system is going to work for any single chord progression you want to play. So let's try another one just to give an example. So let's try a 1, 3, 4, 5 chord progression, right? We'll stay back to our position down here. So your 1, going to be your C major, right? Your 3, where's your 3? 1, 2, 3. We're going to have to build a chord around this note here. And also a 3 is typically played as a minor also in a major key. So we can make this as a minor. Where would be your 4, right? We know that your 4 is a half step away from your 3. So you're going to build your chord right here. 4, 5, back to your 1. And let's do a 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progression. So you have your 1, your 5. Where would be your 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Your 6, where's your 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would build our chord around this one. A 6 is also typically played as a minor, so we could play a minor this way here, right? Our root note being right here where the 6 is. And our 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to our 1. So when we play that together, 1, 5, 6, 4, and back to your 1. All right, guys, so that's it. That is how you could build your chord progressions off of your scale degrees. All you need to remember and all you need to learn and kind of study is where your scale degrees are in every single major scale shape. So you could use it all throughout the fretboard. But as you could imagine, right, if you're used to playing in one shape, it's just going to become second nature. It's just going to become muscle memory. So just keep practicing. Start with one shape. Really just memorize where the scale degrees are in that given shape and just get creative with it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that was helpful and I will see you soon.